Putri, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, everyone. I'm the representative of this international class group with the members listed as Abdullah Ramadan, Muhammad Khairunnazmi, and Dinda Sandikta Putri are going to present our final assignment in PPB. First, we're going to explain the first and second and third by Dinda Sandikta to Dinda Sandikta. Time and screen is yours.
Okay, so as for the first question, it was known that the company name is the Sofia Co. It is a brand that are focusing on making a bag. In today's competitive market, the development of the high quality product that aligns with the consumer trends and brand identity are really crucial. So therefore, in the first question, we are going to focus on the R&D process of the Sofia & Co. There are eight activities involved in the R&D process. The first one is looking for ideas and references. The second is aligning preferences with the brand objectives. And then continue by describing the bag parts and the elements of the bag, providing a detailed breakdown of the reference for the product, and then the fourth one is the searching material and supplies. So the R&D teams identify the materials and also the accessories that will be in the design of the product. And then the fifth one is the creating a sample and collaborating with vendor. And then the sixth one is the pattern making, which the R&D team creates the technical patterns that will guide the cutting and the assembly process of the bag. And then the seventh one is designing the blueprint documentation, where the details are compiled into the product specification. And the eighth one is conducting internal review and pre-production testing. So the bag are the prototype are going to be evaluated by the internal stakeholders or the R&D team for the comfort, usability, and the durability. And then the next one is the second question, we are going to focus on the production planning team of the Sophia and Co. So this department will act as a bridge between the conceptual product design with the physical manufacturing. There are four activities involved in for the production planning department. The first one is estimating material usage, which the production planning will calculate the quantity of the fabric, and then continue by material procurement, which based on the estimation, the procurement team will contact suppliers to purchase the necessary materials that are going to be used. And then the third one is the production scheduling, which is the production timeline that will be developed to align with the availability of the machine, and then the allocation of the labor, and also the deadlines of the delivery. And the fourth one is the work order preparation, which the detailed work orders are created in this phase, which will be including the pattern copies, fabric layout, and also the tool and the quality check parameters for the product. And then continue to the third question. The after production planning stage, after it is done, we are going to be focusing on the making. So there are 10 activities involved in this phase. The first one is the receiving materials, which will be checked the quantity and the quality of the raw materials upon the arrival. And also the second one is the material cutting, which the team will cut fabric using patterns with a proper seam allowances. And then the third one is brand logo application. The team will provide the logo of the Sophia and Co. And then continue by the bag assembly, which is the first one is the initial sewing. They will be stitching the main parts together using the machines that are available. And then continue by inserting the functional features of the bag, including like pockets, zippers, linings, or the other components. And then there is the final bag construction, which will be assembly all the complete bag, including the handles and also the others. And then the final branding, which is the post assembly, which is done by applying any remaining branding elements. And then the eighth one is finishing touches, which is the the team are going to clean the product surface and then attach final accessories, and then continue by quality control inspection, which the bag will be inspect each unit to be seen about the defects or the proper alignment or the quality or the durability. And the last one is packaging and storage, which will be packed, which the bag will be packed as a finished product, and it will be moved to the storage or will be prepared for shipping.
Thank you, Dinda. I'll continue the next questions. Here I'm going to explain about the fourth question, which I explained and described the process of R&D that Dinda just explained in iGraphs form. So here is the flow of work in the R&D process. There are five divisions. There are the conceptors, data analysis, materials, pre-production, and the vendor. So first, we need to explore fashion trends through social media, and we ask help and use the resources in the data analyst to gather preferences and data and analyze them and categorize them based on designs and usage. And then we give that information back to the conceptors so that they can actually categorize the designs and analyze the shapes that is appropriate for the design of the bag. And then after that, after it is finished, the conceptors will contact the materials to find out what is the best and the most suitable material for the design. After that, hold on, there you go. After that, we brainstorm with the pre-production division to create a production timeline on how to actually produce this bag step by step, including stitching techniques and all of those techniques that are related to bag making. After that, we identify the final materials and the accessories needed for the bags. And then after that, the conceptors, after everything is finished, they made the blueprint, which are sent to the vendors to develop a physical prototype. After that prototype is being tinkered again by the conceptors using patterns, and then the blueprint is being documented. After that, we present the sample, the prototype of the design to stakeholders by the pre-production division, and then if they agreed, it will go to the pre-production testing. And then after, if they don't agree, we need to do it all over again. We need to design a blueprint, assign materials, create a sample, and then present it again to the stakeholders. That's the fourth number. After that, wait, hold on. This is the fifth number. Here we are explaining about the production process planning using iGraphs. So here, after everything is done, after stakeholders are approved, have approved our designs, our samples, and our prototypes, we send these designs to the production staffs. After they receive the designs and the necessary materials needed for the manufacturing of this bag, they receive the materials, they procured, they ordered, they packaged, etc. After they got their hand on the materials needed, they transport it to the sewing operators where it is being cut, assembled, where zippers, linings, and pockets are assembled also. They are stitched, handles, closures, trim threads, everything that are needed to assemble the bag is assembled in the sewing operators. After that, after the bag is 90% finished, it is being sent to the branding staffs where logos, brands, sponsors, etc. is being ingrained into the bag design using woven or other techniques. After that, the quality control will check whether the bag is suitable for sales or fulfill the quality standards that the company have. reside. That is all for the number fourth and then the fifth number. The next number, number six, is going to be explained by my friend Nazmi. To Nazmi, go ahead.
Okay, so over to question six. So in question six, we also make another iGraphX diagram, but in this case, this iGraphX diagram shows Shopiaco's bag production processes across four roles. It starts with warehouse staff receiving and verifying materials, which are then passed to sewing operators who cut, assemble, and attach all bag components. Next, the branding technician applies the logo and labels. After that, quality control inspects stitching, durability, and functionality. Only bags that pass are packed and dispatched. Defective ones go back for rework. This structure flow ensures efficiency and consistent product quality. And we move on to question 7 now. So in question 7, we describe the overall process of the overall bag production workflow. So as you can see in this iGraphix diagram, it illustrates the overall bag production workflow connecting suppliers, internal departments, and customers. The the process begins. It starts with suppliers. It starts with suppliers delivering materials to the warehouse, which stores and forwards them. The R&D department designs and tests samples. If approved, production begins. The production team handles cutting, sewing, assembling, and adding accessories. Branding is then applied, followed by quality control checks. Approved bags are packed and delivered. Finally, customers receive the product and give feedback, ensuring a complete, quality-focused workflow from start to finish. That's all for question 6 and 7.
Okay, so that's all for the iGraphs question. The next questions will be explained by our friend Dinda. To Dinda, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the last question, which is going to explain about the 18 items of process model for the company Sofia Co. So the first one is the process component interaction and relationship between process component. The first one is the input, which is already available, including the material specs, design blueprints, and the work orders. And then the next one is triggering events, which already available also, which is the market trend analysis and then the customer demand. And then continue by the activities including the R&D, production planning, and also the production manufacturing, which are already mentioned in the previous question. And then the deliverables, which is the samples, the patterns, and importantly the finished bags. And then the output is to have a high quality and brand aligned bags. And then the next one is the customer, which is including end users and also the business clients. And next is the human resource, including the R&D team, procurement staff, production workers, and also the QC team. And then as for the infrastructure, including tools, for example, like sewing machines, design software, and also the QC stations, as mentioned in the previous answer. And also there is a recommendation from us, which is to propose an automation tools for the material handling or even the sewing. And then the next one is the process flow, which is included in the interaction and relationship between process components. The process flow are including the flows logically across the R&D to planning until production, which our recommendation is to visualize in BPMN for clarity, which we already done also in the previous question. And then the next one is the interaction between process, which is the department interact based on the project handoffs. And the recommendation that we give is to define the SOP or flow charts for clearer communication path, and also the relation of output with the objectives, which is already available, which is the product meets brand reputation goals, the quality, the aesthetics, and also the functionality. And then the next one is the relation of output with the value, which is the output gives utility and design value to the customers. And then continue by measurement and criteria for process controlling and monitoring. The first one is the restrictive rules, which is the implicit through internal reviews and also the guidelines for the quality control. Our recommendation is to develop documented SOP and regulatory compliance protocols. And then the next one is the measurement for monitoring and controlling, including the periodic sample reviews and also the internal checklists, which our recommendation is to implement dashboard systems for the real-time monitoring. And then the internal process performance indicator, including the quality defect rate and also time per unit and also the usage of the resources. Our recommendation is to formalize these indicators in performance report. And then the next one is the external process performance indicator, which is unavailable and are not mentioned during the previous question, which is our recommendation is to have a customer satisfaction by introducing a surveys or even an NPS system. And then the next one is the process adaptation, which is only two. The first one is the feedback. It is design revisions during the sampling phase. And our recommendation is to add customer and user testing feedback for having broader insights. And then the last one is the changes and improvement, which is the trial and error approach used in the design phase, which is our recommendation is to formalize the continuous improvement process using the PDCA or even the Kaizen methodology.
Okay, that is all for our presentation on this final assignment. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm sorry if there are any inconvenience. Yeah. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.